What a difference a year makes. You know, a year ago, we were all worried about how much is the market going to drop, who's going to survive, and not just survive in terms of car companies, but even the people running. And I can't believe how many executives who were here a year ago are done, gone, and out of this industry. But here we are today, a year later, and now we're wondering how fast is this market going to recover? How high is up? With them having reduced the OEs and the suppliers, as we just heard, their break-even points, boy, this industry looks like it's going to make a whole lot more money in the short-term future. Looking ahead, Ford made nearly $1 billion profit just in the third quarter. So again, what a difference a year makes. We're coming into the show with a different energy level than what we had before. And first thing that we're going to see is a change right here at Cobo Hall. Not so much this year when you go out and look around. There's about $3 million that's been invested into lighting and electrical and things like that that you may not notice. But I'm telling you, there's a different feel here in Cobo Hall. The city of Detroit is no longer running this place. It's now being run by a regional authority comprised of people from Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb County and the state of Michigan. There's a key reason why the city of Detroit is no longer running this. The guy who used to run this place a year ago, he's in jail right now for bribery, kickbacks, and corruption. And his predecessor is in jail right now. So thank God there's been quite a big change here. There's been changes in dealing with the union. The unions agreed to all different kinds of changes so that the automakers wouldn't have to pay exorbitant amounts of overtime. And we're seeing things going up more quickly at a lower cost. You know, it really got out of hand here. I was told by automakers that this show was the most expensive in the world to exhibit in on a full cost of square foot basis. I don't know how crazy you guys know how it got here. If you wanted to rent a table to have at your press conference, $100. You want a chair? $75 per chair. Mazda 3 years ago decided, you know, we're not going to pay $75 a chair. They went out and bought chairs and had silk screened their logo, the Mazda logo on the back of them. They were literally handing them out for free to the press. It was cheaper to buy chairs and hand them out for free than to rent them in this facility. So this place is changing. And again, a year ago, Doug Fox, who's the chairman of the Detroit Auto Show, and that's another thing. I'm here to tell you right now, I'm never calling it the North American International Auto Show again. Every other major auto show in the world is named after the city where it is held. And it may have made sense at one point to change the name from the Detroit Auto Show to the North American International Auto Show. But I'm not going to call it that from here on out. And I'm starting a movement, if you want to join me, stop calling it the NAIAS, stop calling it the North American Show. It's the Detroit Auto Show. But anyway, as I started to say, Doug Fox, who's the chairman of the show, and Rod Alders, who manages the whole thing, went before the city council. This is when Monica Conyers, Martha Reeves and the Vandellas, and a woman named Joanne Watson were on there, leading the charge to put a slam on the brakes of getting this place renovated and redone. In fact, when those two, Doug Fox and Rod Alders, got up in front of the council to testify, there were people heckling them in the background, telling them, go home, get out of town, get out of here. All that's changed. We've got new political leadership in the city, almost brand new city council, and a new mayor. And I'm really optimistic on what we're going to see happening here. So next year, this time, this picture, I don't want it to say North American International Auto Show. I want it to say Detroit Auto Show. And there's a lot of changes going on, like I said. We're seeing the car companies spend money. I mean, last year it was almost as bad in the GM exhibit. It looked like they had cars parked on AstroTurf on the floor. Now look at this picture. They're spending money again. And the quality and the pizzazz of the exhibits are coming back. You've all heard about Electric Avenue, and I'll get into that in a moment, where they're bringing in all kinds of EVs from all over the world. And they're going to create this whole hullabaloo about EVs, and that's being built, as we say. And then downstairs, don't call it the basement in front of anybody from the show. It's officially the Michigan Hall. But once again, they're having the eco experience where you can go down. In fact, I think with your analyst, with your media bag, you can go down into the Michigan Hall and survive all the hybrids and EVs that they'll have running around there from what they're setting up. When the public days open, the public will be allowed to go with somebody driving. They're not just going to turn it over. And another very interesting thing, if you do want to drive those EVs, you have to take a breathalyzer test before they let you drive around in the basement. I think it's great that the Detroit Auto Show is done this whole EV, craziness. They jumped on board, but I keep saying, go out, look at the cars, go drive the cars, learn what you can about these cars, but beware of the hype. It's way overblown. EVs are going to become a part of this market, but they're not going to take over the world. And I like to compare them to hybrid cars. Hybrids have been around for over a decade now. They're a very proven technology. They work wonderfully well. Right now, today, there are 7 different brands with 30 different hybrids that you can buy. All different kinds, small cars, big cars, trucks, SUVs, you name it. And yet, after a decade, with all these EVs out there, they comprise less than 3% of the U.S. market. And one car, the Prius, accounts for half that market. And probably half of those sales take place on the West Coast anyway. So if in a decade, hybrids have not even cracked 3% of the market, what's the forecast for EVs? They're going to come to market with much higher cost. Then you have this whole issue of range anxiety, and especially for normal everyday kind of people like us, maybe the hardcore EV fanatics don't see it that way. There's going to be infrastructure needs. Most people are not set up to be able to plug in their car, even in their garage right now. And of course, that's why I'm saying if in a decade, hybrids have not cracked 3% of the market, I think it's highly unlikely that a decade from now, EVs will have done even half as well as that. But there's some cool things to look out at on the floor. Here's a little car from a company called CT&T United. I don't know anything about them. I'm going to be learning about these guys out there when I go out and look on Electric Avenue. It's a Korean company that claims it is going to take over the EV market in the world. But the only thing I've been able to glean from looking at their website is that it looks to me, and I'm not even sure about this yet, I believe they have electric motors built into the hubs of the wheels of the car, which is very interesting, and I think that is the way it's going to go. But they're holding an event tomorrow night at the MGM Grand, and I think I'll learn a whole lot more about that. BMW's in on the act. I mean, from little cars to big cars, this is their active E. The Germans put a lot into diesels, but right now they know that from a public relations standpoint, you've got to be on board with EVs. Very interesting. This is a very close-up of the Nissan Leaf. Nissan, for 2009, pretty much just dropped out of every auto show. They were not in LA, they were not in Frankfurt, they're really not even in Detroit. But they are going to have the Leaf there as part of this Electric Avenue. And this is the most serious, the biggest commitment of any major car company making to the EV market. When you get down on the floor, make sure you check out this one, because personally I think Nissan is sticking its neck out on this one with the commitments that they've made. But if you want to see the best foot forward the industry's done yet, this car is it. And there is Toyota coming with one too. And actually this is going to be a small hybrid, not pure EV. As you probably know, Toyota's EV right now, or hybrid right now, the Prius, a little bit pricey for mass market prices, and plus they got stung a little bit when Honda came out with the Insight, which is priced below the Prius. So Toyota decided, okay, we better come out with a lower cost hybrid. And this is a little sneak peek, that's as much as we've seen of the car. But take a look out for this one too, because this